Hey, good afternoon. I'm Rocco Johnson. How are you doing? It's Lifestyle Focus Friday. This is when the lights go out. Are you ready? How are you today? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's podcast. We're going to be talking about ultimate guide for new life insurance agents and what it takes to get started in your first 30 days of your career. I've had this question. I got a few agents that are going to be visiting us online today, and I thought I would start answering some of the questions to help them get their careers off to a jump start. So maybe you're having some issues. Maybe you're thinking about a new career change. Maybe you have already started, but not quite sure where you're headed. Well, in this next episode, over the next 30 days, we're going to learn some effective ways to build your clientele and master the art of selling financial service products and services, and understanding what life insurance products are available, what's available to you, your market, and to the clientele that you're going to serve. So some of our topics we're going to be talking about today is your day-to-day actions from the first day. What should you be doing? Networking techniques to help you build relationships. Effective sales strategies to help you close more deals, make more profit, and understanding the difference between different types of insurance and marketing yourself and your services to the public. So these are just some of the nuggets that we're going to be talking about today on the inside. And I want to thank you for joining us and being a part of our podcast. But I also want to invite you to become a member of our Lifestyle Focus Wealth community. It's only $16 a month when you apply for it and you pay for your annual subscription. But what's inside of that? It's a whole community of people just like you who want to know what millionaires and billionaires are doing, and they're already benefiting. So I want to invite you to be a part of that club. We'll talk about it more on the inside. This is when the lights go out. Are you ready? Hey, join our Lifestyle Focus Wealth community. Membership starting at $16 a month when you pay the annual subscription. So register online today at www.lifestylefocuswealth.com. Hey, that's awesome. Good to have you back. I see we have people already showing up in the room today. And today we're going to take a little bit of break off of all the craziness that's out there. We're going to talk about new life insurance agents for a moment and what you should be focusing on in your first 30 days. You know, if you're just visiting us today, we're taking a normal we talk about lights out moments. We talk about what millionaires and billionaires do. And you're probably thinking, what does that got to do with new life insurance agents? That's a kind of a switch. Well, did you know the insurance industry is responsible for more millionaires than most industries out there? That's correct. You know, the guy that goes knocking on your door or the guy that's doing your insurance for your family, you might want to ask them about how successful they are. You may be surprised. And they're walking around in front of you in broad daylight. But we're going to talk about what it takes over the next 30 days and help you build an effective client base, help you master the art of selling and marketing and understanding your financial tools, your insurance tools, and just kind of discuss them with you. So I'm glad to have you on board. If you're on board, do me a favor. In the comments, before we get started and off to the races, in the comments, do me a favor. Please click the like. Please click the subscribe. Please click the share button. And don't forget that notification bell if you're on YouTube. That way you can get all of our up-to-date content and you'll know when our next podcast will be and all our private information. So we want to have you along. We want to have you here. We want to have you inside the room because all the information you need is right here. So for those of you that are coming back, we want to welcome you back. So welcome back to When the Lights Go Out. Are you ready? This is Lifestyle Focus Friday. And this Friday, we're going to just start talking about what are your action plans for your first month in the insurance business. What are your action plans? Before I dive into it, I just want to put out there that, this is I can remember back when I was becoming a new agent. Man, it's like long time ago. And I had these grandiose ideas of what this industry was all about. And I can tell you, it's nothing like I thought it was. From my perspective, I had the idea that you had the door knocking guy coming around, knocking at doors and collecting, $5 for life insurance. And when he knocks at the door, you hide in your house and act like you're not home. But I understood after going off to college and broadening my horizon a little bit that this is further from the truth. And on our show, we have talked about the dynamics from how wealthy people and lower income people see the same topic. And just on that alone, we can build multiples of conversations and topics on how these two point of views view the same thing differently. And insurance and insurance agents and their importance is one of those things. If you come from an impoverished background, the insurance agent is, hey, look, first of all, you want to make sure you have insurance just in case, right? Just in case it happens. In the life insurance world, we know it's guaranteed to happen. We all have a start date and an end date. So we know it's guaranteed to happen. It's just a matter of when. Well, how do these two views look? Well, if I come from a lower income family, I'm probably looking at insurance as a bill. I'm probably looking at it as something I can barely afford. Something that, I really don't want to, but I know I need to have it just in case we have a lights out moment in the family, right? If any of you out there agree with me on that one, go ahead and give me a thumbs up or something in the comments. I'm going to ask for your engagement today. This is going to be a topic where you guys can engage and have a little fun with it. At the same time, I want to just give those individuals who are starting their careers some nuggets that they can get started and be effective today, right away. I think that's important because at the end of the day, for as the public, that is your go-between. The insurance agent is the go-between you and the insurance company. And without that, communication is lost. And financial education is even more scarce. That's your conduit to some level of education. And that's what we want to do here is talk about financial education and why it's important. But a lot of times when we have the topic of financial education, we lose out on one industry that, in my opinion, maybe I'm a little bit biased, deserves more attention than what it's actually getting. When you say financial literacy, you often hear real estate. You might even hear the banking information. You may hear even about putting money into stocks and bonds and mutual funds. But let's talk about how the insurance industry fits that mold. And then I'm going to get right into the topic of what you should be doing in your 30 days. Well, see, and depending on what we're talking about, the insurance industry, and today's topic, we're specifically talking about the life insurance agent, the custom life insurance agent. And then we got the agent that is just selling insurance for final expenses. Let's start with final expense insurance. Final expense insurance is the type of insurance that you get just to cover the final expenses for your family, okay? And typically these premiums are much, much smaller because the policy size is much, much smaller. $5, $10, $20, $25,000, enough to take care of a final arrangement in many cases. Okay. But then there's the custom guy. There's the it's almost like you could tell a prosecuting attorney from a defense attorney. You can always look at their suits and tell that there's a difference, right? There is a difference. Not saying the career is bad one way or another. They're still attorneys, of course, but there is a difference from the defense attorney and the prosecuting attorney. You can see it as soon as they walk in the room. Well, in the insurance industry, you can see that as well. When you have the custom advisor or the more seasoned advisor, they're using insurance products to talk about things like minimizing taxes for wealthy people. That's been a unique niche for my firm for the last 26 years, where we talk to wealthy people about different strategies and concepts that allow them to minimize their taxes and increase their revenue returns by simply adding insurance. Simply talking about insurance and then giving it as a benefit to their employees and then creating executive bonuses and programs for themselves. But that is on a more advanced level, and those premiums are significantly higher. But where do you fit in your first 30 days? In your first 30 days, you may not realize that the industry is so wide open. There is so many different things to choose from. But before I get into the first 30 days, I'm going to tell you why I think it's one of the greatest industries in the world to be involved in. Number one, it does teach you the principles of money. If you pay close attention, you'll find that in the insurance industry, almost in every situation, you're going to touch the insurance industry. Why? Because most topics that we speak about in today's world have to do with money. And if you start to pay attention to follow the money some way, somehow, if water flows to the biggest reservoir, well, money flows to the biggest reservoir as well. And that reservoir usually is an insurance company behind it. And if you follow the details, you will find that. And most people have no clue that it goes to the insurance company. Well, it's the biggest and baddest on the block. Number two, it gives you a type of lifestyle that probably most people wouldn't imagine. You're dealing with the public all the time. However, you have the ability to work from home. You have the ability to travel and work from anywhere in the United States. You have the opportunity to work with the kind of people that you want to work with and build your niche within it. Total control. And not to mention, the potential for high income is definitely in the insurance business. However, it's not without work. That part I want to make sure that we put an asterisk by, because there's many people that think they can start this business because of the low entry level that it takes to become an insurance agent. And that low entry level is simple. You can go to your local state, pull up a license and a licensing course, go take a licensing class, spend about 40 hours in a class and pass your state exam, and you're pretty much ready to go. Pretty much ready to go. But let me warn you, passing your state exam has absolutely nothing to do with what you're going to experience out here in the field. And once you decide what kind of firm and what kind of place you're going to work and what your niche market's going to be. So there's just so much more to learn, right? And for me, I can tell you, I've learned a lot. I've learned the differences between loans and strategies. I've learned that, at the end of the day, you can be patient. You can be patient. Why? Because at one point or another, somebody that you're talking to is going to have a life-changing event. Whether they have a new baby, get married, get divorced, start a new business, have grandkids, there's always going to be someone that needs your assistance. And depending on the level of involvement you are in, you may be able to be in this industry long enough to see 2 to 3, maybe even 4 generations of family. And that's when referrals start to come to play. So let's talk about your first day-to-day actions as an agent. Your first day-to-day actions, first of all, you want to make sure that you align yourself with a company or a mentor that actually fits who you are. And a lot of times we don't know what that is yet, but your core values have to be met. And then there have to be a good match. And you have to be willing to commit the kind of time that it's going to take for you to be successful. And what I mean by that is be prepared. Give yourself 3 to 4 years of a commitment, right? Go ahead and give yourself 3 to 4 years commitment right off the top if you want to be one of the ones that survive, because here's a startling statistic. Upwards 90% of people in their first 4 years who begin the insurance career, especially the life insurance career, they fail. So if you are a new agent and you're in a room full of new agents right now, if you look to your left, look to your right, I can assure you 90% of those people won't be here 4 years from today. If you're one of those that's lucky enough to survive, you've probably started buying into the strategies, concepts, and to mentorship and the coaching that we're going to be talking about today. So why is that important? I think these are key topics to cover, key topics to talk about. And if you're an agent out there and you have questions, I'm going to invite you to put takeaways into our comment session. If you see something that I said or talk about, give us a thumbs up during the conversation. And it's my hope that we are giving you some nuggets that can help you. So feel free to ask some questions, and I want to be able to answer them while we're live or doing our live today. And if you're watching this on repeat, go ahead and leave us a comment and leave us some information. And I hope that I can get back to you pretty quickly as I try to reach out to everybody who reaches out to us. So let's get started, shall we? Shall we? I'm looking forward to it. If you want more information today, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, you can reach me at info@roncojohnson.com. And today's information is sponsored by our company, L.R. Johnson and Associates. So I'm going to go ahead and put it out there today, what you need to do and what you need to think about when it comes to being successful in the insurance business. So number one, the day-to-day action plan is this. Go ahead and start committing your days ahead of time. I know we've had a couple of meetings in the previously about preparing your schedule. The schedule is absolutely the best because it allows you to focus in on what you're doing. This career is probably different from where you've come from. Many of you have come from W-2 type of jobs where they tell you to be there from 9 to 5 and they give you tasks all day long and then they send you home when the bell rings, right? Well, the insurance business is not quite like that. Actually, you're almost dictating and setting your own hours. There's no one really watching over the top of you, but it is your commitment to your craft, to study, to be informed, to engage, and then show that level of commitment that sets you apart from all the other people that you're working against, okay? So your day-to-day function should be, hey, I want to wake up early. I need to know what I'm doing on my Mondays. I know what I'm doing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and on Friday. For me, I like in our coaching classes to talk about the value of having, a 3-day week, right? A 3-day prospecting week, meaning that I'm reserving time to talk to clientele Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And they have a set time that they can book anytime, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, between the hours of 7 a.m., 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. But let's not mistake balance. For those of you that are coming with children and coming with family and married individuals, it's important that you have balance, because you can get kind of lost in the sauce, and you want to have time with your family. Your family is a support system that everybody needs, and you don't want to disengage from that resource. That resource, like sleep, is highly important to what you're doing. But on your day-to-day, you want to be trying to track a number of things. How many people you're coming into contact with. And I say that very carefully, because if I say phone calls, you're thinking you should be on just the phone. I'm saying how many people you come into contact with. Because the people you come in contact with, whether it be at a grocery store, whether it be at the gas station, online, at a jazz event, basketball game, or a children's birthday party, these are contacts and connections that you may be wanting to make. You are your walking billboard. So just understanding your day-to-day actions, that you want to be presentable and ready and able to basically jump into mode, if you will. But go ahead and put aside scheduled times to meet with clientele. The second thing is Mondays and Fridays, you may want to set up time to sit down with your coach, your mentor, and go over plans that you have done over the past week. It's important that you have your goals and priorities set, and that you find no excuse to get through those tasks within a 7-day period. Why? Because we got to move on. You got to move on. The most difficult part in any type of professional sales is getting the ball rolling. But once you get the ball rolling, it can be an incredible ride. But I'm telling you, you don't want to be pushing that ball uphill after you've stopped. It could roll back on you and completely destroy everything you worked for. So be a collector of information. Be willing to meet people wherever you are, hand out a business card, volunteer at some of your networking groups. Your networking groups will help you build relationships. For those of you that don't know business owners, I know such groups like Business Network International and some of these other young professional groups, or even private clubs, golf communities, and so on. These are great opportunities for you to build a small network to network with. You know, you may want to align yourself with other accountants, CPAs, lawyers that are in the area, real estate agents that are in the area. Why? Here's why. If you start to focus on building relationships with people who have services that affect life-changing events, chances are those life-changing events roll down to the bigger reservoir of water, right? To insurance. Give an example. You might want to have a real estate agent in your book of centers of influence, is what we call them, or your CIs. You want to collect a group of CIs. Why? Because if someone just bought a home, the first thing they got to do is protect their largest investment. They need to think about how to pay that thing off if a lights out moment occurs, especially if it's a 2-family, 2-income household, right? So day-to-day actions and having an action plan, just meeting anybody, I want you to be more strategic about who you meet, why you meet them, and then schedule some time to go out and meet with that individual, that professional. Share with them the topics about what you do and how you may be able to affect their business. I know a lot of times when you go out and meet with accounting firms or CPAs or so on, those folks run into people who have changed jobs, who have 401ks that they need to roll over. There's so many different conversations there, but that networking relationship is key when an attorney or a CPA can pick up the phone and say, hey, I want you to go see John over here. They can help you with managing that portfolio a little bit better. And there's some key components that the insurance agent can definitely help you with, especially if you're in a more strategic planning side of the industry. Let's talk about some effective sales strategies and closes to help you close more deals. Number one, stop selling. Start marketing. Stop selling. Start marketing. One of my biggest pet peeves of anyway, when I walk into a store, the first thing I don't want to be is sold something that I don't want. And I think that's the biggest fear that everybody has. I have no problem communicating with you. I have no problem acknowledging what I'm looking for and then receiving that information so I can process it the way I process it. Well, are you going to be that kind of a personality for your potential client? Or are you going to be the person that seems a little bit pushy and it may push your client away? I can tell you, whether you're using a stream of leads that's been provided for you or you bought them on your own, the one thing you want to do is prove to your prospective client that you have effective listening skills. And in those effective listening skills, you're going to uncover opportunities to help that family out that maybe they didn't even realize existed. That maybe sounds like it takes you off the line of insurance, but it really doesn't. It really doesn't. Give an example. I was having a conversation with a gentleman just the other day, and all he could talk about was he needed a new car. He needed a new car. His car was having an issue. But all he wanted to do was get a new car. But he was undercapitalized to go get a new car. And some of the different things that we started to talk about, it didn't matter what it was. It always came back to the new car. So I asked this guy, I said, hey, John, if I were to give you $30,000 right now, what would you do with it? His response is, get a new car. Obviously, get a new car. Well, you start to share information that, hey, listen, I can appreciate you need a new car, but have you ever considered this? The power of owning life insurance can be extremely powerful in your financial tool, especially when you have people who have a need that they're trying to take care of with cash. And one of the things that you hear me talk about all the time is the importance of having your cash. The more cash that we have, the more it can work for us, not against us, right? So one effective strategy is showing and illustrating and educating on the value of having more cash work for you, and then using that leverage of cash to use loans, policy loans that you can pay yourself back over time, saving you some stress, saving you some money overall, and then also purchasing whatever it was that you wanted to purchase. But it also can be a wonderful tool to set up seed capital for your next ventures, meaning you want to create a new business. Maybe you want to buy some real estate. Maybe you want to invest in some other third-party business. These are things that happen through conversation. And through you being the advisor that's giving these types of options to your clientele, the sale is now made. It's not because you pushed it on anyone. It's just because you gave them a broader view of how to accomplish the goal that they had already. So by marketing yourself as a professional, as an expert and positioning yourself as the go-to person, whether it be the go-to person to meet another professional. If somebody needs a certain service, maybe I know 10 people that can provide that service. Has nothing to do with me selling life insurance at all. However, if I have that database and I'm the go-to person and I send John 10 different clients of my own to get a car fix, John is probably going to be thinking, I'll sit down with Ronco and have a conversation with him if he asks me, because I'm interested in why and how and what he does that he's able to send me all these clients. Well, by having that one-on-one conversation to just explain the type of work you do allows your community, that network that we're talking about, that you're building these relationships with, understand the type of clientele you want to work with. And in doing so, you'll find that you don't have to pay for leads. You'll find that those networks and those individual relationships become highly important to you. Why? Because they can promote, market, advertise, and actually testimonially, or is that a new word? Testimonially? I just made that up. They can testify to your level of achievement and your work, right? And there's no better recommendation than that, because they have personal experiences with you. And if you can build a career of professional service at a high level, becoming the kind of person that's going to do what you say, mean what you say, and then carry it out on behalf of other people, and you always have your people first, the information first, the education first, you will be rewarded on the back end. Okay? Is there any questions from our group as we're talking? I know I've been going on for just a few minutes. I know I've been going on. Hey, I want to go ahead and say happy Friday to everybody that's in the chat right now. If you're in the chat, happy Friday to you. I see everybody got the thumbs up. And I see some of you is saying that the exam, it only gets your toes wet. Yeah, it's just enough to pass the exam. But I can tell you, it's a fun ride after that. While I see people in the chat typing right now. So while you're in there typing, I'm going to talk about why it's important to market yourself. Market yourself and your service. Be a student. Be a student. In your first 30 days, you should be able to stand in the elevator and tell someone the company you work for, why you work for them, the philosophy, the methodology, and how you can help them reach their goals, their dreams, beyond their expectations. If you don't know that background, take time to study that. You got to know where you are. You got to know your product and service, and you want to know that inside and out. You should have materials that you can look at all the time. As far as getting out into the public, all you have to do is make sure that you don't make up stuff. You need to be responsible for the information that goes in your brain and out your mouth to the public. And if you do that, stay in compliance. Stay in compliant, meaning that you did not step outside any of the guidelines. You didn't make up something that isn't true. You've read over your material. You understand it. Now that you understand the product or the service, now you can go out and offer that opportunity to the public. And in your first 30 days, one of the fastest ways to learn is to have a coach. One of your fastest ways to learn is to have a coach. And in the insurance industry, many times agents get caught up on they got to make money. Okay? We all know you got to make money. But the truth be told, money is not the most important thing. We got to make sure that the clients and the public that we serve is protected properly. Because when a lights out moment happens, we need that family to be ready. And a lot of times, you are the reason that they are, and you might be the reason why they're not. So I'd much rather be the first option. Let me share with you a scenario that really happened in my world. I remember in my first 6 months, did a couple things. I was really good at booking appointments. So for those of you that are great at booking appointments, book your appointments. You should be trying to see 10 to 15 people a week. Easily, 10 to 15 people a week. Well, you should be having these conversations 10 to 15 times a week. And if you continuously do this, I promise you, you will get better. You'll get more confident. You'll have a better understanding. You will have started to see every personality trait. You will be able to read body language. You'll be able to hear the concerns of your client. All these things happen by repetition. The more you do it, the better it gets. The more you do it, the better it gets. The more you hate it, the more you do it. The more you hate it, the more you do it. Because in the early years, that's the difference between the highly successful and the ones that don't make it. And it's interesting. For new agents in their first 30 days, you need to understand your chance of being highly profitable is sometimes much higher than a person with more experience because you're doing the things that matter most. It's not about the knowledge, but it is about doing the grunt work. And the grunt work is communicating with as many people as possible, sitting down and taking the facts and writing up your fact finders, understanding their issues, and then coming back with a solution. That is the majority of the work in your first 30 days. So my thing to you is to focus in on meeting as many people as I can, meet as many centers of influences as I can, introducing what I do, the type of work that I do, and sharing it with them so that maybe they can refer or recommend people to your service. Am I making myself clear? You'll be surprised because the more people you save, it gets back to the person who recommended it. And then, and only then, they'll start to see that they appreciate the knowledge that you were able to share. And then when you get that information that's out there, share it amongst many, without you knowing it, one day you're going to be walking around town and you're going to find that everybody knows a little bit more about what you do before you get there. And that's going to be that moment when you start to recognize that life is starting to shift. Things are starting to change. And once those things start to change, you'll be able to tell. You'll be able to tell. Why? Because a couple of things are going to enhance. Your smile is going to get better. Your physical fitness is going to get better. Your engagement with your family is going to get better. It's going to deepen. Your relationship with your children is going to get tighter. You're going to be able to be more patient when it's complex issues that challenge you outside of your job. It's because you're inside of a business that's filled with challenges, and those challenges, it does correlate to our real lives. I call it overcoming challenges faced by new agents. Time, money, respect. You got to overcome all those challenges. But as you do it, the more patient you will be. I guess this is one of my steps for agents that need to overcome challenges. Maybe you didn't have the money. One of our goals is, hey, look, you may have to use seed capital to jumpstart your business. Why? You need the paper. You need your business card. You need your laptop, your computer, your cell phone. You need the back office CRM system. Be sure you're putting information in some CRM system. That's your client retention marketing tool. Why? Because you need to be able to keep a record of everything you've said and everything you've talked about to your prospects for a period of time. And here's some tips on ongoing education and professional development. Okay? Here's some tips on ongoing education and professional development. That part you don't get from your agency in many cases. You may get training and you may be getting information about how many sales you need to be making in a month. But the education that you get are going to come from organizations like the American College. The American College gives opportunities for individual agents, advisors, planners, and so forth, the opportunity to get designations such as the LUTCF, the CLU, the CHFC, the Certified Financial Planner, CFP, and those types of designations at the end of your name. Those are different levels of education that prove that you have put some time into your education. And this is information that you learn on your own. And a lot of times when people are from different, depending on where you came from, if you come from a captive agency like the New York Life, the Northwestern Mutuals, Prudentials, you've probably got some idea of these courses and the availability. But if you started in the independent world, maybe you started in a network marketing company, you may not hear about that as much. So the education level of the advisor is definitely a piece of the puzzle that sets you apart. You want to be a part of it. Okay, personal development is key. You want to be up to par on legislation. Your groups like NAIFA, the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, allow you to meet with lawmakers. One of the great things and one of the fun tools that I think from this industry that I've learned is you have to go to our government, talk to legislators, Congress people, and talk to them about the effectiveness of the insurance industry and how it affects every mom and pop in America. And when you're doing that, you have to know your product. It's not about the company that you work for. It's about the industry that we represent. So my challenge to you as an agent is not to be the top agent in your office or not the top agent in your city or state. Commit to a business of excellence. Be walking amongst the best in the industry. And how do you do that? You start looking at information and groups like, Form the Forum or MDRT, Million Dollar Roundtable, that put you around professionals that have exceptional service, exceptional business practices, and rely on a level of ethics beyond measure. And once you start to tie these things together, the American College education, understanding the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, and how that works in our government and our laws and our legislation. And then you start putting together professional development with other successful advisors on a global scale. I'm using the word global for a reason. Because when you put yourself on a global scale, you start to have information that's not privy to everybody in the industry. Am I making myself clear? So whether you're just starting out or you're just looking to refine your tools, this can be a guide for you to becoming one of the most successful agents around. So you don't want to miss out on this invaluable insight that can dramatically impact your career. You know, this career has been really, really good to me. It has allowed me the opportunity to sit in front of you. It has allowed me the opportunity to save others, build businesses, have an entrepreneurial spirit, and then share with people some of the nuggets that I've learned across the way that have allowed me to have the opportunity to live the lifestyle that I do. And I want to share that with the world. I want to share that with everyone. I think everybody has the opportunity to be amongst that elite. And it's not very hard. I know I got one of the questions out there on one of our, how much does an agent really make? Okay, let me go ahead and answer that. If your focus is about money, and I'm not saying money's not important, but if that's your focus, you're probably going to be in that 90% that fail. Your primary focus should be, how many lives am I going to save today with this information? How many people am I going to affect with this information? How many people can I help go to college? How can I help communities grow with tax-free cash values or tax-free death benefits for future situations that we know may come down the way? How many families can I talk to about the importance of having wills and trust in place? How many families can I talk to about being prepared for a lights out moment? I know that we're just now coming off of a second hurricane down south. Shout out to those folks down in Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, and those of you that were on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, you got to see that I was running from Helena down in Florida, and now we got another one coming in as we're speaking right now. Well, listen, there are people, they're hurting. They're hurting. And just put it this way. It's very simple to say the more people that you provide solutions to, the more people that you're trying to help in a day, the more people that you assist in a week, it does correlate to higher incomes. But to answer your question specifically, the average agent, at an average, is probably going to make about $50,000. I'll tell you that in this career, it's been one of the most difficult careers to earn $30,000. But it's one of the easiest careers to earn a six-figure income. Why is it difficult to earn $30,000? Because if you're not doing your job, if you're not talking to people, if you're not sitting down face to face and having conversations, it's pretty difficult to do. But if you're doing these activities daily, you got a full schedule, you're meeting 15 people a week, you're trying to close more than 10 appointments a month, you got a certain premium amount that you're chasing every single month, it never stops. And you're actually writing that down. Hey, I need $1,000 in premium this week. Okay, I got 200 this week. I got 200 today, 100 tomorrow. I got $50 this way, and you start to count from $1,000 down to zero to hit your goal, and you don't stop until you hit that goal. When you start putting these things in play, you will start to see your income go up and up and up. And if you start to do that, it is very easy to say you'll reach that six-figure goal. And it doesn't matter if you're selling the smaller entry-level product or you're selling the more complex financial plan using complex strategies. It really doesn't matter. It's about how many people that you're trying to affect. Okay? Is there anyone in the chat that has any questions? I've been going on for a moment, so I want to give you guys an opportunity to chime in. So please start typing quickly and put that information in. So if you are interested in learning more about this career and you want more insight on things you can expect, and if we can be of any service to you or be helpful to you, please just give us a contact. Let me know, and we want to be a resource for you to ask. Okay, we want to be a resource for you to ask. And if you're a new agent out there and you haven't quite found the home that you're starting to look for, give us an opportunity to talk to you about what it looks like with us. Okay, and you can just reach out to roncojohnson.com, go online, schedule an appointment, a one-on-one, and schedule some coaching time with us as well. And we can talk to you about it. Okay, it's pretty simple. Pretty simple. I hope today's information has been helpful to you. Don't forget to subscribe and watch our channel and get some more financial tips here every Friday at 1 o'clock. And we're always open to helping you get where you want to go. Thanks to our sponsor today, L.R. Johnson and Associates and their agents. I'm hopeful that this information and these tips from the top have been something that helps you get where you want to go, right? Because we all need help a little bit. We all need a little bit of help. So I'm going to hang out for a minute and answer any of your questions. Because in this next 30 days, we want to make sure you can go from zero to expert really quick. So in review, while I'm waiting, we've already explored the effects of effective networking. We've talked about mastering your product. We've talked about utilizing your CRM and your technology and streamlining your process. And most of all, continue to stay in front of people. This is crucial. This can dramatically change how you approach this business as a new agent. And you need to get started like now, today, like yesterday. Okay? Okay? I see a lot of thank yous. Hey, listen, if I'm getting thank yous, that means that I'm being pretty clear. Okay? And I love it when it's clear. I like to be straightforward with you. I don't want to play around with it. I like to just give you directly the information because guess what? Your success is entirely on you. How hard are you willing to work for your success? If you want to be a six-figure advisor or seven-figure advisor, the opportunity in the insurance business is definitely there. It's definitely there. I'm not going to tell you it's not. But if this thing is not for you and you're in it for the wrong reasons, it's probably a good idea. But at the end of the day, there's more people in this career that need your help. There's more people who are looking for people like you. And if it wasn't for you knocking on their door, meeting those people at church, setting up booths at your football games and your conferences, if it wasn't for you, those people who purchase your service may not have bought otherwise. And one of the things that I can tell you, I know that in the early days we focus on the sale. And before I let you go, my lights out moment I want to share with you. In my first 6 months, I had a friend that passed away and one of my potential prospects passed away. And we didn't have the opportunity to get those policies enforced before their untimely passing. I think for me, in that traumatic situation, I realized that I was no longer selling. It wasn't about the money. Really and truly, I was up against the clock. I was up against the time. When someone that you come into contact with that's uninsured, they're on borrowed time. And it's because of you that they're willing to take their time, listen, and implement the strategies that you're proposing. And as I say to you all the time, the most valuable asset in the world is time. And once you've gotten into this business, in my opinion, there is no other industry in the world that I'd rather be in, because I know that I'm affecting change with a pen, some wet ink, and a piece of paper at a level that you can't imagine. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of death benefits will pass through economies of scale because of the work I've done when I'm done. And I'm aware of it. These are the things that you should be focused on, is saying, hey, where is my authority going to come from? Where is my life of significance going to come from? Well, for me, my life of significance is shaped around the people who say thank you. Thank you for having my father or my mother sit down and take care of this when they had the opportunity to take care of it. So listen, I want you to know that you're important. These first 30 days, I want you to go out there and do everything it takes for you to prepare yourself to go out and help as many people as you possibly can. Okay? And do me a favor, keep us in the loop. Let us know. I would love to hear your stories. I enjoy hearing your stories. Okay? So be sure you keep me in the loop. I want to be a part of that conversation. And don't forget to call us. Hey, thank you for joining us today. This has been a fun episode of When the Lights Go Out, Are You Ready? I'm Ronco Johnson, your lifestyle-focused wealth coach. And look here, we look forward to seeing you next week, 1 o'clock, Fridays at 1 o'clock, right here on YouTube. And y'all have a fantastic weekend, okay? God bless, and I'll see you next time.